The GEBROEDERS Brugemann consist of Cees, Peter and Jo's. Also Colinda, Jo's wife, and Myra, Peter's wife are a part of this combination. Their pigeon lofts and the cheese warehouse are located at the Noorderweg in Assendelft in the Netherlands. History. It was Lou Brugemann, the father of the brothers, who founded the basis for the love that they all have for the pigeon sport. Lou was a pigeon fancier at heart, who together with son Cees, had several pigeon lofts over their cheese warehouse at the Wilhelminastraat in Krommenie. At that time Jo's was still a fairly young boy but was already interested in the sport, but Peter only joined the combination in the 90s, when they changed to the long-distance races. From the beginning of Lou's pigeon sport career as a restarter, they were already very active on the lofts in Krommenie. Lou had been away from the pigeon sport for about 10 years when the races were changed from Sunday to Saturday. Saturday was and still is the busiest day on the markets where Lou sold his cheese. In those days they had a fairly mixed team of pigeons in the loft, but Lou and Cees wanted more. They contacted Raoul Verstraete and several pigeons from him found their way to Assendelft. But it still was not enough and they continued their search. Their real success started when they met retired mushroom dealer Cheryl Goossens from Burtmerbeek and later Bouchet, both in Belgium. Cheryl had an extensive breeding loft. Lou and Cees brought children from among others the Klein Blau, the Fundman and the Geschift from Gust Hofkens to Assendelft, and these brought the colony to a higher level instantly. At one point, the pigeons from the lofts over the cheese warehouse in Krommenie were moved to their home in Assendelft. In Assendelft, they had a few chicken sheds that were converted into pigeon lofts. In these lofts they proceeded to breed many champions and win many championships. One of the most evocative couples, continuous producers of champion pigeons, was the couple Kras Verstraete out of Bravenzat Cross Vierage, Crossvetbrander Goossens, bred out of the pigeons from Filament de Rik from Beginnendik, whose super loft was bought by Cheryl Goossens. The 249 out of this couple became best speed pigeon of the Vredestuif competition. In 1983, they even obtained the first championship of the NABVP, then with 18,000 members. This championship consisted of the one-day long-distance races and Bergerac. An important part in this was played by the 256, who became champion pigeon of the Rijn, Noord-Holland, with lead prizes in the races from Etamps, Orleans and Ruffick. De GEBROEDERS. Time didn't stand still and the old cheese warehouse in Krommenie had to be demolished. They decided to build a new modern warehouse at the home in Assendelft, with space for several pigeon lofts over the warehouse. It was also decided, partly because the market trade in cheese became busier and busier, to change direction in the pigeon sport and to exchange their successful racing program with many highlights for a new challenge, the overnight long-distance races. For this purpose they bought pigeons from Huub Boostenrik, who together with his shortly before deceased brother Hein, was the best Barcelona racer of the Netherlands. From Huub they bought the 78062, who won 11th, 18th, 25th and 30th National from Barcelona and Pekeng. They also went to Jan Moerman from Wauteringen, who was extremely successful with young from his direct Muller pigeons. And they bought pigeons from the wonder couple of Gerrit van den Kruk from Steenbergen. Out of this couple, two brothers flew the 6th and 8th National Barcelona in 1987, the most difficult Barcelona in history. They also bought a few Nippius pigeons from Johan Riekers from Briezenveen. Willem van den Berg from Maasland provided them with a hen of the old Arden breed, the 04. Coupled to a son of the Klein Blau Hofkens, she became another important pillar in their stock building. Also the Thielen and Kulligers pigeons from Verdelman came to strengthen the breeding loft. Sadly, by this time Lou had become ill. He did see the new accommodation but not the success on the overnight long-distance races. Jo's, Cees and Peter too decided to join forces and thus the combination GEBROEDERS Brugemann was born. Every pigeon that was not suited to the overnight races was sold through Magazine de Duif. This was in the beginning of the 90s. From then on, they were becoming more and more successful on the 1,000 kilometers races. They kept building on their father's life work and they reaped a success. In 1993, the Chiba, Moerman Cross Oostenrijk, flew the third National Pau, while 2 weeks later the Orhan, Myra cross Oostenrijk won 5th National Barcelona. This feat was repeated in 1994, with the Tycha, Oostenrijk cross Riekers, winning the 3rd National Pau, and 2 weeks later with the Myra, Oostenrijk cross Van den Kruk, becoming 8th national in a very difficult Barcelona in the furthest drop. And in 1995 and 1996 they kept winning top prizes time after time as well. At the end of 1996 they decided to sell all racing and breeding pigeons that were 2 years or older. This happened in cooperation with magazine De Duif, Jan Hermans, in the venue Jan Thielen in Brugemann, Belgium. The sale was a spectacular success, and the top pigeons went to new owners for high prices, with most of them going to Japan. The basis of their present endurance colony consists among others of descendants of the above-mentioned pigeons, in particular offspring of the Orhan and the Myra, crossed with pigeons from Jan Roelofs from Alkmaar and Cor de Heide from Maid, both in the Netherlands. Relocation. The cheese trade kept growing and growing, but the warehouse space didn't grow with it. So they started looking for a bigger business premises, preferably with living quarters. But that was more difficult than they thought. Still, in 2013 they managed to buy a beautiful farmhouse with a number of outbuildings and lots of space at the Noorderhoek in Assendelft. In one of the barns they built a new cold store for the products of their market trade, while in the easterly point of the roof of another barn they constructed several racing lofts for the overnight long-distance pigeons, and in the westerly point the breeding lofts. These were again fantastic dry roof lofts with plenty of ventilation. Behind the house, they built a loft for another discipline, the one-day long distance. And at the front of the overnight lofts they constructed a young pigeons loft for the new generation of overnight long-distance pigeons. The first weekend of July 2013 they participated for the last time in the races from the old address. It was a weekend with beautiful, warm summer weather with a headwind. And it became a successful weekend. From Barcelona they won the first prize in the Fun Club Noord-Holland with the Milo, 17th National. From Châteauroux they won a lead prize with the Whippen Richard, and from Montauban the 724 became 7th in the Fun Club Noord-Holland. In 2015 they start with 24 widowers and hens on the one-day long distance, 16 one-day long distance breeding couples and about 80 young pigeons. The start with overnight long distance pigeons is apart from the 12 designated breeding couples with 35 old pigeons, 50 yearlings and with some 100 young ones. All overnight long distance pigeons are raced from the nest. The one-day long distance pigeons are raced on widowhood. The overnight pigeons and the one-day pigeons are raced from strictly separate lofts. The care of the pigeons is totally different too. A largely rejuvenated colony of pigeons at the Noorderhoek, a colony with a simple but excellent care system, and for the rest just good pigeons and no frills. Family sport. For the GEBROEDERS Brugemann the pigeon sport is a family sport. They are people anyhow with a warm heart for the animals which are present in abundance around the farmyard. Cats, dogs, pigs, horses and above all pigeons are there in large numbers. Each family member is involved in the pigeon sport, which is a necessity anyway with the men having to spend so much time on the well-going market cheese trade. Colinda, Joe's wife, has a number of horses with which she rides in competitions. She is also the one who predominantly looks after the budding one-day long-distance colony, which consists of pigeons from Rick Hermans, Rudy de Sayer and Richard Faber. Their daughter Lara is also crazy about horses and she helps as much as possible with looking after the horses and especially the young pigeons. Peter's family is also fully involved in the caretaking of the pigeons in Assendelft, but his daughter Manisha has also her own little loft at their house in Krommenie, where there are a fine number of one-day long-distance pigeons. Cees helps here as much as he can, but he spends most of his time at the various markets. After they moved house, it has been quiet concerning their achievements for a while, but now they have plenty of homegrown pigeons once more. They are more eager than ever to start with the races, and the emphasis will be on the Queen of Races, Barcelona. That is after all the race in which they have won most of their victories. Their pigeons can take on those 1,250 kilometers. We often see that Barcelona is the best race for fanciers with their kind of pigeons in the loft. In future, they will again set their sights to the one-day races, the kind of races which made Father Lou champion of the NABVP in his early years. The brothers are on the move again. Thank you for watching. Until next time.